Do me a favor real quick. I want you to think of someone that you deeply respect, someone you admire or maybe even idolize. If you need a second, feel free to pause the video. Now that you've got that person in mind, I want you to ask yourself why it is that you hold that person in such high regard. Is it because of the way they walk or talk, how they hold themselves in a high manner, that they conduct themselves with a calm, cool, and collected style? Maybe it's the job they have or how much money they make, the car they drive, the house they live in, the friends they have, and the quality of those friends, and their relationships. Whatever your reason ends up being, I'm sure it's a significant part of what makes them who they are. It is what you and everyone else may know them for, after all. I don't mean to question your reason for valuing them so highly, but I do want you to consider this. Everything that I just listed are things that a person needs to work to obtain. Many people who conduct themselves in a confident manner have had to overcome the obstacle of low self-esteem. Oftentimes, those with dream jobs have had to go through dozens of occupations that made them fight for their sanity every waking moment. A lot of what they accomplish financially is partially because of those nightmarish jobs they worked, and sometimes it takes a terrible friend to know good ones, and the same can be said with relationships. If you haven't already guessed it, the point is that even people that have it all have had to work for it all. Now, that's not some end-all be-all rule, because obviously there are people in this world who can get a small loan of $1 million straight from daddy's funding and make it in this world easy peasy. But a lot of people do in fact go through hell to become the versions of themselves that you so highly admire. That's where the script flips for me. To me, what's truly admirable about a person is what they put themselves through to reach their goals. It's easy to look at the end product and say, wow, that person is cool, or I wish I could be them. But my utmost respect is given to the version of that person that had to go through crazy turmoil to reach that point. The version of them that suffered in silence and woke up to heartache every morning, but still got up and did what they needed to do. Even when they were tired. They formed their grit, and their grit formed them into a person who inspires grit within others. There's a word for what I'm describing, and it's called tenacity. The quality of being aggressively persistent in maintaining, adhering to, or seeking something valued or desired. I love many different forms of media, and if you couldn't guess, anime is a very big one. So naturally, there was a connection I made between this concept of tenacity and the medium of anime, one that deals with 3 series in particular: One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, otherwise known as the Big Three, and how it's portrayed through the main characters of these shows. As I said before, tenacity is the quality of being aggressively persistent in maintaining, adhering to, or seeking something valued or desired. But being tenacious in itself is something that requires specific qualities. Firstly, a person seeking to develop a level of tenaciousness must develop a strong sense of self-worth. Believing that you matter in the same world in which your goal exists is an essential first step. After finding your self-worth, it is important to form acceptance in the hardship that comes with being yourself and having the goals that you do. Not everyone is blessed with a level playing field, but learning to accept that and push on in the face of adversity is a cornerstone of acquiring tenacity. And last but not least, manifesting belief in yourself, your capabilities, and your potential leads to a level of freedom of expression which enables a tenacious spirit to be formed. Now, I'm not some philosopher, and I don't think the name Tensa Shinra will be mentioned in the same sentence as Aristotle 100 years from now, but I do think that this idea holds some weight, just using basic reasoning. Let's start with Naruto. I don't know about you guys, but to me, self-love is one of the biggest, if not the central theme of the series. I know many would say that it's overcoming the cycle of hatred, but if you think about it, there's no way Naruto could have hoped to accomplish that goal if he wasn't capable of loving and appreciating himself on a basic level, let alone being able to see the good in an actual deplorable human being and convince them of their wrongdoing, which was a key part of overcoming the cycle to begin with. In Naruto's case, it was especially difficult to love and find worth in himself when his entire village hated him and found him worthless from the day they learned of his existence. This fact makes me respect him as a character and his struggle all the more. It's almost as if Kishimoto uses Naruto as a character to non-verbally say, if this guy could learn to love himself in a world where everyone hates him and tries to make him believe that he's worth nothing, you can too in a world where nobody is alone forever. And it works incredibly well. Moving on to Ichigo, his big thing throughout the series is coming to terms with the situation he was thrust into as a result of who and what he was. In other words, self-acceptance. Just like the series Naruto, many people would lean towards something else as the main theme, like overcoming fate through the power of courage. But again, while that may be the case, it isn't something that Ichigo would have been able to accomplish had he not accepted himself first. Kubo actually does a brilliant job of conveying this by literally intertwining the idea of self-acceptance with his power system, making it so that the more a Soul Reaper understands their Zanpakuto, which is a reflection of their own soul, the stronger that character becomes. We also know that when a character is troubled in any way, their strength wavers, as Ichigo has shown in many different cases. And near the end of the series, in the 1000-Year Blood War, Ichigo completely accepts himself, which unlocks the truest and most potent version of his abilities, allowing him to commit to the march of courage and put an end to his most formidable obstacle yet. And finally, Luffy. You might look at a character like him and think, yeah, that guy's got nothing running through that head of his. It's easy for a person who's never seen all three of these series to point the finger at Luffy when asked which three of these characters probably has the least depth. But the fact is that Luffy has his moments just like the others do. If not, I wouldn't be making this video. The main theme of Oda's series is a lot simpler than the other two: following your dreams. Again though, something that Luffy would not be able to do if he wasn't able to believe in himself, which is another key point of One Piece. And it is debatably the most important part of forging tenacity within oneself. You can have self-love and accept the path you alone walk, but what does it mean if you can't believe in yourself and take that first step? In Luffy's mind, to be the king of the pirates is to be the freest man in the seas. In a way, he's already free, being a lawless pirate and all, but it's also because he's able to believe in himself and to exercise the tenacity that it takes to reach his goal. And while these three characters are all the primary examples of loving yourself, accepting yourself, and believing in yourself within their respective series, many side characters in each of these series all share the same motivating factor. Every Jinchuriki is made to find their self-worth to make it in the world. Every Soul Reaper needs deep self-reflection to grow stronger, and every pirate needs to believe in themselves to have a chance at reaching their goals. In essence, if tenacity is a machine, then self-love, self-acceptance, and self-belief are the gears by which that machine is powered, allowing you, the operator of that machine, to reach their greatest potential. That said, we've reached the end of the video. I don't have any grand final words, but what I will say is that while everyone may take something different from each of these series, these were my biggest takeaways. And with how well they all intertwined with one another, and the message they push when they come together, I thought a video on it would be very interesting. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, this has been Tensa. Stay easy, guys.